Hello, what's happening, everyone? William Johnson here, playing 3/4 on the Cajon. Here's a little rhythm that you can play for pop rock context in 3/4. 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right, now I played some ghost notes there, just small variations. But basically what I was playing was a bass, some ghost notes in between, and then the snare, the higher pitch on the Cajon on the third beat. So we're in 3/4, so we're counting quarter notes. That's the main pulse that we're counting, or note that we're counting. And then we're playing in three beats. Then the pattern starts over. So 1, 2, 3. That's the essence of it. The basic meat of it is playing the bass note on the first beat. So 1, 2, 3. And I'm playing with one hand. Now with my other hand, I can fill in, and I'm going to explain this all much slower and in some other anecdotes and some other issues of playing different rhythms within this time signature as well. So I can fill in the other notes with my hand. 1, 2, 3. And I'm playing 16th notes in between. So 3/4 is the same as 4/4 in the sense of how we're counting 8th notes or 16th notes. It's just that we don't count as long, right? Because we're not counting to 4 quarter notes. We're counting to 3 quarter notes, and then the pattern starts over. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Same thing with 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. 16th notes. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 1. So we can now play a similar way if we were playing 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The last thing I do before I start over is I play a snare or higher pitch note on the Cajon before I start the pattern over. I play on beat 4, and then I come back on the bass on beat 1. In 3/4, it's the same thing that I'm doing with this particular rhythm. It's just that I'm only playing one backbeat, one snare on beat 3, and then I start over on 1. So if I'm in 4/4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. If I'm in 3/4, 1, 2, 3, 1. So because I'm in 3 now I'm only playing one backbeat. So it's a similar effect with this rhythm that rhythm that I played in 4/4, which we like to call this a 2/4 rhythm, playing the snare on beats 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. See that? So when we say 2/4, what we're meaning is we're playing the snare, the backbeat, what we like to call that, on the second beat and the fourth beat. Now, when I hear questions, and this video was in response to a question that was asked. I'm playing some rhythms or something in the Cajon for 3/4, and it's a great question because this is stuff that we do on the Cajon in a pop rock context. It's particularly for houses of worship, worship music, contemporary Christian music, perhaps even gospel music. And I'm specifically talking about the CCM style. So pop rock, Chris Tomlin, Elevation, Hillsong, Jesus Culture, that kind of stuff. But when I hear the question, how would I play? What are some ways of playing in 3/4? What comes to my mind is that there may be a foundational technique that is missing. Not always, but the first thing I think of is, well, whether you're playing in 3/4, 4/4, or 6/8, it's a matter of counting. It's a matter of understanding basic rhythm or music theory, knowing where the 1 is in a song. Questions that arise in my mind is there a song that you're playing that's typically in 3/4 and you're learning how to play it? Well, if this is a cover, is there a recording? Are you able to interpret what the drummer is doing and put that on the Cajon? If not, then that's where the real issue may lie, because there's information that's in the song. So if I'm covering a Chris Tomlin song, I'll try to link below a couple cool songs that Chris Tomlin has done that are acoustic, that are, I think, played on the Cajon, that are in 3/4. And these are songs that I've done in a worship context as well, and you can hear what the drummer's doing. The issue is if you don't really know where the one is, if you can't really count and tell where the one is and where the bass is and where the snare is, that's where I would focus on, because it's kind of like teaching someone how to fish as opposed to getting them the fish. If you teach someone how to fish, they can get fish for themselves. If you know where the one is, if you can hear what the drummer is doing and interpret that, then you can now transcribe rhythms for yourself. And now you can, as you learn how to play that particular song, now you have a rhythm that's in that time signature of that song, and you can apply it to other songs. Now, if it's a popular song, if it's a song in a pop music context, it's possible, not always, but it's possible that that is a very, I want to say particular, but typical rather, very common way of playing that rhythm. This just so happens to be a pretty common way of playing 3/4 in a pop rock context, country, rock, soft rock, maybe even hip hop in some contexts of playing it. Now, again, back to the eighth notes and the quarter notes or the 16th notes and all of that. The way I played the rhythm was I played 1, and then I'm playing and 2 E and, or 1 E and 2 E and 3. So it's accented on the 1 on the bass and then beat 3 on the snare. What does that look like in a context? Let's turn the metronome on. I have it in 3/4 at 92 beats per minute. All right. Some songs, a lot of songs you might hear around 90, 91 in the ballad world, between, you know, mid 70s all the way up to maybe 100 or so beats per minute in this type of genre. So I'm going to put it at 92 beats per minute. And now you may hear hopefully you can, this is all translating through the audio. You may hear the 1 is on the higher pitch accent. Beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, boop. And particularly, a lot of music like this, the 1 will be on the lower note, the bass note. So I'm going to play a bass on 1, and the last beep before it goes back to the high pitch beep is here. 2, 3, beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, boop. Okay, so now if I count eighth notes in between that, I got 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So now I can play an and or an eighth note after the first beat. I can add another bass note. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, boom, 2, 3, boom, 2. So now I have a variation on the rhythm. I can play 16th notes. 1, 1, 1, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a boop, 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 boop. Now I can also take a brush and add what might be like a hi-hat on hi-hat pattern on the hi-hats, right? 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, and play the same rhythm I was playing before. I can also add that second bass note on the and of 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and bass, bass 2 and that and bass, bass, snare, bass, bass, snare. 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2. Slowing it down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. Now I don't have to play the bass on 1 and the and of 1 and 3. I could play the bass on 1. I don't have to play the snare always on 3. I can play the snare on the and of 1. 1, 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. I can play it on the and of 1 and on 2 or 3. I can play it on 2. I can play it on the 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. You could switch it up in a million different ways. All right. And so you have 3 quarter notes, 1, 2, 3. Then you have a certain amount of eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and. 16th, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. All of those can add up to different places you can place different notes. So that's what I would work on, is really having the ability to count and the ability to hear a recording that's in that time signature that you're going to play. And to be able to count in that time signature and be able to hear what the drummer's doing. These are the skills that I would work on, because now, regardless of the time signature, you can now hear what's happening and be informed and play many different things, as opposed to just learning them one at a time. You can also take a metronome, put it on 3/4 if you want to get better in playing in that time signature, and just drive around, just listen to it for a while. A few minutes a day, just count along with it. And it'll start becoming as normal to you eventually, as you work on it, as 4. What happens is, so many songs that we listen to growing up may be in 4/4. 1, 1, 2, 3, So we're used to counting in 4. What happens is, when we're not used to counting in 3 or in 5 or in 7 or in 9, our mind is defaulting to counting in 4, and so we get thrown off, and we're always one behind, or we're always one short, all right? Or one ahead, whatever. So turn on the metronome, just count. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Say it out loud. 3, 1, 2, 3. Make it really slow and practice along with that. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Do that a few minutes a day with the metronome. Count out loud, and you will start getting accustomed to starting the pattern over and beginning the pattern within that time frame, within 3/4, and that will help you. Hopefully this helped you a little bit, helped you along your journey in playing in a different time signature, one such as 3/4. I believe I have another episode video on playing in 3/4, but it's like on shakers or whatnot. If you want to check that out, a lot of these things also apply. God bless you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you, and I'll see you soon.